Hello, I'm Broward County Sheriff Gregory. We're committed to ensuring the safety of our children in our community. With this in mind, we're proud to bring you the following documentary to shed light on the needs of our most vulnerable youth, those in foster care, and those at risk of entering the system. This is an important message that we hope will open not only your eyes, but also your heart and perhaps your home. Thank you for watching.
Since the coronavirus pandemic, so many of us have faced unimaginable challenges. And when you talk to our youth in foster care,
being a youth in foster care, you're already kicking somebody while they're down.
Some of those in our communities who are most vulnerable already, they're really struggling.
They don't have support or they don't have somebody
with no one to come home to.
I think during this time, everybody kind of goes home to your family, and when you don't always have family to go home to, you get really stuck in a situation.
I am living with a friend and her family since I was kicked out of the dorms.
Trying to find resources.
I did lose my job. I'm out of work.
I still have to work, but they cut down our hours tremendously, so I can only work 12 hours a week.
I don't know at work, my coworkers, even customers, if they are sick.
And with the dreams they've worked so hard for being crushed.
I graduate in less than a month. Everything has been canceled for me.
I got invited to the Peace Corps, but that's been postponed.
All the things that I was looking forward to for the past 4 years is just completely gone.
Without being able to see their loved ones.
I cannot see my baby sister because of coronavirus and worrying about her immune system.
Including their younger siblings who they may have cared for growing up.
You know, how can you keep yourself from really overstressing about those people that you care about?
They feel alone.
Like being home alone, and not having an immediate family.
And they're scared.
This disease overwhelmed the situation and exacerbated.
For those kids that do not have a forever family, that are either in a group home or who are aged out of the system, it is taking a very big toll on their mental health.
While there are many agencies and volunteers ready to help them,
our nonprofit community in Broward County is amazing, and they are doing their best every day.
There's something else we need.
The one thing that we've struggled with and we continue to struggle with and we really need to solve is we need more foster parents to serve sibling groups and to serve teenagers.
It's just feeling alone, I'm facing this alone.
These children need a constant in their lives. Someone who is there for them day in and day out. And that is precisely the role of a foster parent. However, even before this crisis began, our community was already experiencing a shortage in foster homes.
We always need foster parents of every kind because thank goodness we have so many wonderful people that turn into adoptive parents. And once they become adoptive parents, we lose that foster parent capacity.
Leaving many, especially teenagers, in shelters or group homes with no connections or ties to fall back on.
It's important that, people have somebody out there that's willing to step up and be that voice for somebody else.
My foster parents were blessings to me. They took the chance of taking in younger kids and older kids. They didn't have a set limit on age.
I'm Gia Tutelo-Moat, and just like everyone else, most of the time I'm with my kids, my family. Just like most of you out there trying to work from home and take care of those who mean the most to me. Well, not all children have that. A parent, a home to call their own. Some children in foster care live in foster homes and have a foster parent. That's someone who's dedicated to temporarily caring for a child who can't be with their own families. It may be a child or sibling group that's been removed from their home due to abuse, neglect, or abandonment, and is waiting for that situation to improve so they can return safely, find a relative to take them in, or they may be waiting for a forever family to adopt them. Either way, it's foster parents who make a tremendous difference for our children in care, and that's even more apparent now during the coronavirus pandemic. We paid a virtual visit to some of them to see how they're making a difference in the lives of our kids, including Sara, who fosters with CAYUGA centers.
Now you can click it. My name is Sara, and I am a single foster mom here in South Florida. I specifically take in sibling sets, especially boys.
Allowing the two brothers who are currently staying with her to live together. A baby boy is staying with her at the moment as well.
Whereas I used to be a full-time single working foster mom, I now am homebound with all three of my boys.
Providing a safe environment through this crisis.
A lot of kids in care need to have a sense of consistency and knowing what comes next during this time. That's something that we can't really answer. My 9-year-old, who's very bright, said, hey, why don't we come up with a schedule like we have at school? And he developed it and I tweaked it a little bit. My boys are very athletic and that's a huge part of their lives.
Their daily schedule includes active breaks, schoolwork, and an afternoon walk where they get to open up.
A million questions about what's going to happen, what's going on. I can't answer the big questions, but what I'm able to do is point to the schedule and say, well, for these next 6 hours, this is what our life is.
Among the things they don't know is when they'll get to see their birth mom again. So Sara also schedules meetings for them online.
Fostering, especially in South Florida, the need is huge for foster parents. And if we don't have foster homes, a lot of the children do end up in shelter or group homes.
Instead of a loving foster parent of their own to help them make sense of things during these uncertain times.
Somebody they can bond to and attach to, which is crucial for emotional health.
So a foster parent is there for that child, specifically living with them, just the way a birth parent would be every day.
We as foster and adoptive parents offer these kids a lot of stability. And in a time like this, anxiety levels are off the charts, especially kids from hard places. We've had to get a plan for an unforeseeable time.
As for Gary and Joy Rivers, the children in their care were getting ready to go back to their birth mom. Now that process has been halted.
Which is pretty destabilizing that they don't have an expectation of the next time they're going to see their mom.
So they are there to support the children, to handle the hardship and disappointment, and to try to lift their spirits.
We committed when they came here to always tell them the truth, even if the truth was tough.
It still takes them some time to adapt and to learn what that new expectation is. So it's just a constant resetting of the expectation.
It's very uncertain for everybody. But the message, the safety message that we get to send them, that you are not alone.
I think applying structure and routine has really helped. Having an older child who is sort of independent, helping me with the younger child has been a really big blessing as well.
Jonathan is also caring for siblings while sheltering in place.
I've actually fostered 2 other sets of siblings. They since reunify with their birth mom.
As he juggles work, school, and play, Jonathan brings them the love and care all children deserve.
Homeschooling is unique. He's doing his best to give me his full attention, and I feel like he's learning very well. It's going much better than I would have expected. We as a family take a walk. Been taking family conditioning classes through live video. This past Saturday we did it, and the baby was not having a nap in any way, so she actually participated in the class with us. It was very funny.
And doing everything in his power to keep their case plan right on track.
I have not treated any of the kids that have been in my care any differently than if they were my biological child. I fight tooth and nail for every service that they should be receiving. Everything that I would possibly do with a biological child, I have done with every child that's been in my care.
Another huge concern right now is what may happen after the coronavirus crisis. And that's why local agencies headed up by ChildNet are ramping up efforts to recruit and train more in our community.
One of the things that we're really worried about with the COVID-19 situation is the fact that there's so many kids home and there's so many kids isolated. And there's so much anxiety out there among children and families. And there could very possibly be more children that enter the foster care system.
Another concern is foster parents who are looking after children right now may get sick and not be able to continue.
I tested positive for COVID-19 a few weeks ago. It was scary because with this virus, you never know what's going to happen the next day.
leaving even more children without care.
I mean, I was exhausted, terrible body aches. I could never imagine having kids running around and having to take care of them.
Some of our older generation have retired and taken them in. And so the risk factors that sometimes complicate their health, especially with COVID.
Some of our current foster parents are empty nesters or even grandparents who are caring for their children's children while they're trying to get their lives back on track.
The coronavirus puts them in a position to make a decision, how do I continue to care and not expose the children that are with me at this point.
Currently, we don't have the capacity in foster homes to be able to serve an increased number of children in Broward or Palm Beach County. And so one of the things that we're doing to respond to that is bringing the training online.
Mark Doge, president and CEO of Kids in Distress, headquartered right here in Broward County, was the first in the nation to get approval to conduct classes online.
Can everybody else see everybody else on here? That means that we can serve families throughout the Tri-County area for those folks that want to be involved and want to be a foster parent.
And he wants to encourage anyone who is able and has a heart for children to sign up.
During this time of social isolation, that online training is going to be just paramount to be able to get foster families up and running quickly in order to possibly respond to that crisis.
Providing the opportunity for those of you watching right now to become a foster parent without leaving your home.
And that's really going to make a huge difference for the children and families that we serve and for potential kids that may come into foster care.
For now, agencies like the Children's Harbor in Pembroke Pines provide safe shelter for some of those children who don't have an individual foster parent. They also provide support for teens leaving foster care and families in need.
Families all across Broward County are struggling, and our family support counselors are literally available to them 24/7 to walk them through, to navigate them through their anxiety, to connect them with resources.
At the same time, their main campus, where dozens of our local children call home, remains open.
We have 36 kids here in Pembroke Pines. 12 of those kids are children who are parenting their own infant child or are pregnant themselves.
These are children who've suffered abuse, abandonment, or neglect, and the people who care for them spend time away from their own families to provide support to ensure their safety.
To be a foster child in a time like this, when there's so much chaos and uncertainty, I can't imagine the pressure and the internal cyclone that is going on inside of our kids. So we're trying to keep things as positive as we possibly can and wrap them with as much positive engagement and support that we can.
The moment the stay-at-home order was issued by the governor, we realized that we had to make some very quick decisions at JAFCO.
JAFCO and Sunrise has also kept its doors open. Their mission is to care for abused and neglected children and for those with disabilities.
The Village is a home for children who've been abused and neglected, and they actually live here. So those children have been here, they're going to school. Our staff have been amazing. We have no illness so far, which we're so grateful for.
Taking on the responsibility of caring for these children with joy, pride, and love every day, no matter what.
Exercise classes after, they're going in the pool, they're playing basketball, they're doing yoga, they're doing arts and crafts. All our donors are sending in food, and one of our donors decided that he was going to give us to buy toys. The beautiful thing is that the children are seeing all of this coming, and they know that it's from the community. Just so grateful because we had to cancel all of our fundraising events.
Simultaneously, the Children's Services Council of Broward County and so many in our community have been working around the clock to improve the lives of children so they don't end up in foster care in the first place, starting with the most basic needs.
We had a challenge because during spring break, the federal food program that normally would serve children during the school day, that food is not available during spring break.
And with the current crisis, it puts children from struggling families at risk of going hungry.
We've had to step up in a lot of creative ways to make sure that food is available.
Many local agencies have come together to help ensure all of our children have access to food.
The school district has loaned a lot of resources during this time and a lot of leadership as well to make sure that our children are fed.
With all hands on deck, the plan is to continue these services throughout the COVID crisis.
With a GIS map to find a food distribution site near you. One of the important roles as the Children's Services Council is bringing people together to solve problems relating to children.
On our website, we have collected a slew of information, resources for families.
So throughout these weeks, we have been working with our partners throughout the county to ensure that children's needs are being met.
From the most basic of needs to mental health and emotional support, child advocates are playing a pivotal role in the lives of children and those who care for them.
When I can get out of the house again, I want to go to school.
Has it been hard to be at home?
Mm-hmm.
Ashley and her husband are foster parents. Ashley is also Forever Family's point of contact for those looking to become foster or adoptive parents and those who have already committed to making a difference.
I help support families, encourage them to ask what they need. For some of our families, that's been sending paper towels, just talking them through behaviors over the phone if they're having a child that's really struggling. And foster children especially are really struggling.
Needing more support than ever.
There's a lot of heightened anxiety.
At home with the children she cares for, and in the homes of those caring for children in need.
To coach them and work with them and give them as many supports as I can to help encourage them. So if you know a foster family, reach out, asking what it is that they need and asking if there is any practical support.
Like Ashley, so many in South Florida and around the state are reaching out as much as possible to provide care for not only minor children in the system, but also for those who are young adults. Just before this all started, child removals from their homes were at an all-time low.
The numbers in Broward, which have been low the last couple of years because of great work in the community by the Sheriff's Office and by our behavioral health care providers, our safety management providers.
However, uncertain times can drive up those factors that lead to domestic violence.
Exacerbated by both stress and isolation. And hello, that is what's happening right now. That is the current environment that we're living in.
And it's making children at risk of child abuse less visible.
They are also isolated in homes.
School was their getaway card from the stuff that's going on in their home.
With children not in school, with children not in child care facilities, those are usually the major sources of reports for child abuse in Florida. And so with kids not in those settings, we're all a little worried that maybe we're not seeing everything that's going on.
So it has never been more important. We are relying more than we ever have before on neighbors and on family members to make these reports.
Social workers are also worried about the children who are already in the foster care system.
It's a very big deal not having anybody at the end of the day to be able to count on.
Rebecca entered the system herself as a teenager. Grateful for the support she once received, she's now paying it forward by working as a child advocate.
And I've had kids tell me, Miss Rebecca, I don't feel like anybody cares for me. You know, I don't have a family. And we're doing the best that we can to serve all of our kids, to serve our population.
They're making sure that they're connecting with their children and the families. And they are doing their best every day to use every tool at their disposal to keep the children safe, to keep their staff safe, and to make sure that they feel supported by this Broward community.
At a time when even the smallest of things can become overwhelming when you're growing up without a family.
We're really just working to help them meet their basic needs.
These small things have become big things now, and it's quite overwhelming. I actually personally today spent pretty much my entire day searching for basic things just for some of my youth to feel like they're a little okay.
Stability at school and stability at home are crucial in a child's development. A lot of children in foster care don't have that as they bounce from home to home and place to place. Often their only constant is their siblings. For that reason, the older child often ends up acting as a caregiver. That was a part of John's story growing up.
Like, we're no different from anybody else because, I mean, we're normal teens. Like, we pretty much just, the only difference between us is that we're in foster care and other teens aren't.
Like so many teens who don't have foster parents, John grew up in a group home.
The vast majority of young people in South Florida that are in group care and shelter, and in good group care in many cases, but still not necessarily in a family setting, which would really be best.
I feel like I could have done more, like had an actual like childhood, like go out, have friends, do things that normal teenagers normally don't do being in a group home.
Now that he's 18, he still wishes he had that connection.
Yeah, it's very hard coming out of the foster care system and being 18 and just going on like living by yourself because it's like you're not used to it. So you need that kind of support there for you to help you along the way because you don't really know everything yourself.
Foster parenting in general to any child, regardless of the age, is it's a very important thing. It's very big. We need that stability.
In contrast, Rebecca was in a foster home when she entered the system.
They were loving, caring. I stayed there after I turned 18. I was still in high school.
She got a college education, came back and worked for us to help the same population of youth that she was a part of. So she is our success story.
A lot of times when we enter into care, we're coming from a dysfunctional family. So the normal way of raising children, we're not used to that. So it's very important to have that stability, to know that at the end of the day, yes, I'm coming here with baggage, but having a good foster parent, that person's accepting the baggage, helping me unpack it and put it away.
That makes a difference between a crisis and a success.
Everyone needs a support system.
Just part of being human beings. We all experience times of trial.
And Rebecca's foster parents were willing to open their doors to anyone who was in that moment in their lives.
So we had babies that we'd get in the middle of the night and we would help our foster parents with. I actually have a foster sister that she's like my sister. I'm still in contact with her.
And that contact is crucial, knowing that you still have that someone special on your side.
We still keep in touch with quite a few of the children that have left our home and gone back to their families.
Foster moms Linda and Maria cherish the memories and the relationships they've created through foster care and adoption.
We try to be a positive influence for them and be a support system for their biological families. And, we really consider it being like an open relationship where we can establish communication and maintain communication and be there as support.
As they've worked not only with the children, but also with their parents to ensure their safe return home.
There are some real champions, situations where foster care has been a positive influence on the family.
Plenty of memories, plenty of opportunities to teach them and to watch them grow. We provide love to all these kids that have gone through our home. Just as much as we affect them, they affect us.
All the stigma and all the stereotype that you hear is false. The kids are great. They just want love and support, and they come into your home and they just crave attention and love. And if you give that to them, it's successful and it's amazing. And what you get from the experience is so much more than you give.
The impact a foster parent can make on a child is immeasurable.
Just somebody that you can depend on, especially if you're coming out of a home that you're not going back to. And a lot of times when our teenagers come into care, they're not going back home. They are going to either be adopted or go with a relative, or they're going to age out of licensed foster care.
Sadly, many times these children never get to go back to their birth families, making the connection with a foster parent that much more important.
We're not asked to be put here. You were not asked to be born. You were not asked to be born into the family that you were born into. But because of the impact that it's had on my life, this is what I chose to do.
Her experience in a loving foster home helped set her on the right track and also motivated her to be there for others who were in the situation she was once in. Additionally, Rebecca is planning to attend training to become a foster and adoptive parent herself.
I think anybody can really do it. All you have to do is basically have the time, have the dedication, and be willing to open your hearts up to a kid that they so greatly need it. And then you'll find that it is not only rewarding for you, but you'll see great changes in these children.
We are actively recruiting foster parents. We serve all children, all families, and we welcome everyone here.
Regardless of your age, income level, marital status, or sexual orientation, you are welcome to sign up to learn more about becoming a foster parent.
There's not many limitations on becoming a foster parent. You just have to go through the education and the courses and the training and stuff. And single people can foster just like married people, and single males just like single females.
Anybody can do this, and just gotta put your fear aside and jump right in, and you'll be rewarded. Absolutely.
My parents instilled in all of us to not think of just yourself, but think of someone else. And I would say to them, come outside of who you are and just you, and connect to those who are not as fortunate as you are.
20 years from now, when your children, your grandchildren ask you, what did you do during the COVID crisis? You can tell them that you gave a child a home, or you started this journey to become a caregiver.
Giving a child love and care, and with our community programs and resources alongside to support you, you can make a tremendous difference in a child's life. A difference like the ones foster parents Kendra and Peter are making now.
We decided to become foster parents, although we didn't fully understand or realize what that meant at the time.
We entered into this process without prior skills or preparation. We didn't even have any parenting experience. Our oldest is Alexis, and he's 19.
It's been great.
Yeah, he's a great kid. Our kids love him. Being able to love on a teen and give them a family, which is so different than an institutional setting, can have a huge impact.
When I was in foster care, before I came to my dad, I couldn't do anything. And so when I came to my dad, I finally got to see what talents that I had in sports and stuff.
His life was forever changed when Stephen, who was his foster dad at the time, saw his Forever Family video.
It wasn't until I saw you interviewing him and it aired that I was like, oh my gosh, this kid has described of what he wants. It's what I already have. And it's been no regrets.
As you can tell, we've been going all over the world, and it's really fun. And I'm glad I have a dad that's always with me.
We took some time off, and then when he was ready, he's like, Dad, I want to help other kids.
And together they've opened their home to children in foster care who need a place to stay temporarily.
When you're in foster care for a while, it's really sad for the kid that's in foster care, because he or she wants a dad and a mom that's there.
To see Quentin now sharing with other foster kids who are coming in, hey, I've been in your place. I know exactly how you're feeling, of feeling lonely, of feeling rejected. Let me teach you what I've already learned here.
As things around South Florida begin to open back up, one thing we do know is that as we try to find a new normal, many children in our community will need loving foster parents to come forward and care for them. We hope that you will be inspired to make a difference, share this message, and get involved. We can all foster hope. You can also mentor or volunteer, which is how I began this journey more than 25 years ago. Please learn more now at foreverfamily.org. I'm Gia Tutelo Moat. Stay safe, and thank you so much for watching.